Hello everyone, my name is Dyucrane, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you my journey in hacking Celeste, a 2D side-scrolling platformer. So, the first thing I did was, of course, find the obvious values that I can manipulate, such as infinite dash and infinite stamina. Now, these two things are sufficient enough to get through the whole game as easy as possible. But if you knew me, I wasn't satisfied with just this. I asked myself, how could I make this even easier? How would I be able to teleport Madeline wherever I wanted her to go? And so I found her position coordinates, and in testing these coordinates I could teleport her around wherever I wanted. Like, if I wanted her to teleport up a few pixels, I just have to do that. Get the Y value and subtract, since when you're going down the Y axis in a game, it's usually increases. And when you go up, the value decreases. So whatever value my Y position is at right now, all I have to do is decrease it by whatever value I want. Let's say if I want to decrease it by 100. I get to teleport it up there. Now if I wanted to manipulate the x-axis, I would just lower the or decrease the x value by whatever amount. Let's say 10. I want her to go. So now she's inside the wall and I can't get out. Well, obviously I would just have to increase it by a set amount. I can even try to put her in that box, but I would have to go over here and pause it so I don't fall in spikes, and then change that Y value to what I had, and now I'm up here. Doing things that way requires me to know like where each coordinate on the screen is, which obviously I have no way of knowing that. I do know by, going to the left wall and going to the right wall and just seeing what the value is there. I know that the x-axis is a float value that spans between 0 and 320. So the x-axis in this game are 320 pixels wide. And same thing for the vertical y-axis. I found that to be 180 pixels long. Now this is useful because I wanted to be able to teleport Madeline wherever that I would click. And so I needed a better way to control her position. And I didn't know how to do that for the longest time, so I just dropped it. But then I had a brilliant idea. What if I also get my mouse coordinates? And so I got my mouse coordinates. Once I got the mouse coordinates and my position coordinates, all I had to do was find the dimensions that these coordinates would fit in the screen. So for the mouse coordinates, I found that the dimensions that the mouse was restricted to was 2240 by 1260. And this may be because of the resolution that I'm playing the game in. I also found Madeline's position coordinates and what they were restricted to, which is 320 by 180. Now using these two dimensions, how would I, because mouse coordinates aren't very useful, how would I convert the mouse coordinates to Madeline's position coordinates? So what I did was just use the conversion formula, which is this and this and this and this. How do you convert? Well, you know of the cancellation rule, which is like 1 mile. And how do you convert that to feet? Well, you have to put mile at the bottom. Mile is equal to, x feet. And the answer would be x feet, because the miles cancel out. And that's basically how I did it. So what I did is, like, let's say getting half, the center point of this would be the coordinates 1 120 630. So how would I convert 1 120 to the value of Madeline's position? Well, you just use 320 over 2240, and that would give you, well, the half point of 320, which is I think 160, and then you do the same for 630, 180 over 1260, which is half of 180, which is 90. And in general, this is of course x mouse times this value is equal to x position, the actual thing that I can control. And the same for y. Let's say just copy and paste y. You know, because I'm just copying all of this down to here, the y equation, but whatever, you get the point. And so that's what I did. Now, knowing those two things, x conversion and y conversion, going back to the first stage, so there's no like a dangerous person chasing, you can see there's death at this bottom right, so you can't really go anywhere. But going up here, I assumed the values just kept going on and on and on and on. Like, it doesn't reset after each screen transition. And what I mean by that is, let's say you had this screen. This screen is here, 320 by 180. Now let's say Celeste is standing here, which she is now, and the current position she's at is 24 144. Okay, that's her current position. Now if she were to take the exit, which is currently here, well, what I assumed was that all the screens lined up perfectly, like this. Okay, not like that. Like this, like this. Of course, these boxes are not to scale. Just pretend that they're all 320 by 180. So if you go up here, this line right here is negative, well, 0 starts here, so this will actually be negative 180, and this is negative 360. Let's say if you are able to keep going up and screen transition up and up and up. Now same thing for the x-axis. This line right here is 320, and this line right here is 640. So let's say you're halfway point in this screen, which it may not even exist, but let's say it does, then you'd be at the halfway point. So 160 plus 320 is 480. So my brilliant idea was that I would take Celeste or Madeline's current position, and a better example would be this box here or here, doesn't matter, get her position here and divide it by 320. So whatever her position is here, let's say it's 400, divide that by 320 and get the floor of that. It's 400 divided by 320. So you get a 1 point, you know, something, 1 point x. And you're only interested in this number. So if you're anywhere on the left side of this line, it would be 0. And if you're anywhere on the left of this line, it would be 1. And so on and so forth. Let's say you add more boxes here. This would be 2. And I did the same for the y-axis. This would be 0. Well, since I started on this screen, this is 0. and this is -1, -2. This is B1. This would be 2, and so on and so forth. And then I would multiply these values by 320 or 180, depending on if it's the X or Y axis. And I would get the walls for those screens. But man, oh man, was that a wrong assumption to have. Because see, when you transition from the first screen, but man, was that a wrong transition to have. As soon as I left the first screen, I realized my mistake. So what happened there was, this is the first screen, right? And this is the second screen. Both 320 by 180. So what would happen was that I had this invisible line here. If Madeline was to the left of this, it would be 0. So if I tried to move her with my mouse on this side of the screen, she would be like offset all the way over here, because that's how I had it. And if she was anywhere here, over on this side, so there was this invisible line that messed everything up. And so I had to toss that idea away. So my next idea, which is the final idea, works perfectly. So what I do for any given screen, so I get Madeline's position and I click on it. As soon as I click on it, I'm saving the current left wall value and the bottom wall value. And how I do that is by doing my conversion. So my mouse, when I click on Madeline, I know that the mouse coordinates and the position coordinates line up perfectly. So I do my conversion formula, and I knew that X position was the same X position that Madeline has right now. So what I did was subtract Madeline's position. I gotta call it something else. Well, I would call this X convert. Do left wall is equal to X position, which is Madeline's current position, minus X convert, which is the same position that the mouse is in. I would just subtract it and it will give me this value of the left wall. And did the same thing for the bottom wall. Just change this to Y. I mean, I guess I could spell it out. Mouse times 180 over what? 1260 is equal to Y convert bottom wall. Is equal to Y position minus Y convert. And that's what I did. Now what I'm doing in my code is I have two separate pieces of code. So when I left click, it would save those positions, and if I hold down right click, that's when she starts to move with the mouse. So even at this screen, I can go and have her go back to screen 1, which is usually impossible. And then I can just, you know, have her go to screen 2. And using this method, I've come into a bit of a problem if I keep holding down the right click. So when this happens, all you have to do is retry. All I have to remember is when a screen transition happens, just let go of the right mouse button. And then it'll be like normal. Just let go. All you have to do is let go. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And perhaps consider pressing that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, there we go. It crashed.